War Room. This is a documentary which shows a behind-the-scenes look at life in the Clinton campaign headquarters. It opened in Washington, D.C. last Friday, and just ahead we will take you to the premiere. Among those attending, the movie's two stars, Clinton campaign advisors James Carville and George Stephanopoulos. We will talk with them as well as to the film's creators.
Hiya. How you doing?
Good. How are you? I'm glad you got in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
I'll try.
Let me ask both of you, first of all, how did this project come about? Why the Clinton campaign? Why James Carville, George Stephanopoulos? How did this all begin?
Well, it began by these two people who are standing over here, which we could bring in if you want. R.J. Cutler and Wendy Ettinger came to our office and asked us if we'd like to do a film about the campaign, and it just kind of blossomed from there.
What were you looking for early out?
Well, we had this rather fantasied view that we would somehow make a film about the man becoming president, namely Clinton, and it was not to be.
Did you put a request in with the Perot campaign and the Bush campaign at the time?
Yeah, Perot's people said he wasn't running, and not to bother them, and the Bush people were really not interested. So it kind of settled down. I mean, we were kind of funneled into what we did. We didn't have a lot of choices.
When did you first come up with this idea?
We actually started shooting right at the Democratic convention, even though our film begins at the New Hampshire primary. So we shot from the convention through the election. And during the convention was where we stumbled upon James Carville and kind of directed our movie towards the war room.
What was your first reaction when you met him?
He bewitched him. He was fantastic, but we didn't know who he was, so we were a little nervous about putting a lot of film onto him, but he was so wonderful that we did anyway.
Why is it that I'm always asked, what are we going to do when George Bush attacks us? Why don't you go ask George Bush what's he going to do, and we hold him accountable for all, the wrong that he's done to this country? And you can segue, right into Bush. And I just use he reeks of yesterday. He's a stench of yesterday. He is so yesterday. If I think of yesterday, if I think of an old calendar, I think of George Bush's face on it.
James Carville, Democratic strategist. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, it's pretty heady times. I mean, I never thought I'd go to opening night in a movie about myself. I hope people enjoy it.
What did you think when the cameras were there? Were you any different than you are normally?
I never, honestly, after the first 15 minutes, I never knew they were there. This is sort of part of the fabric or the framework or whatever. I mean, Chris and Penny just became part of the operation. I mean, somebody need a copy. Hey, go get, run over to the Xerox machine and get this type of thing.
What will people see when they watch this movie?
Well, I mean, I'd rather have let people watch it, and I think a lot of people will take a lot of different things away from it. I mean, I think I suspect that's what the people that make the movie want them to do, and I'd rather let people see it and judge for themselves rather than have me tell them what they take away from it.
Enjoy. George Stephanopoulos, what do you think of all of this?
It's very, very strange. When they first came to us, we didn't even know if a film was really going to be made, and thought if it got made, it would be one late night Friday night on PBS. But Don Pennybaker and Chris Hedges are very good filmmakers. I'm looking forward to seeing it with everybody from the War Room tonight. It'll be fun.
What did you and others learn last year that you take away from that campaign that people may see in this film?
Well, I don't know if they'll learn much from this. I think that in order to carry out an enterprise like this, that you have to have a lot of intensity and a lot of quickness. But that said, this isn't really a story of the campaign. It is one story of the campaign. And the real story of the campaign is what Bill Clinton did and what he wanted to do for the country. And this is just sort of what went on, what our daily lives were like. But I think it's a fun story.
And as you look back at the last year and a half, what are your thoughts as you see what you have been doing and where you've come from?
Well, when I look back at the movie, I think that I looked awful tired, and I don't know if I'm looking any better now, so it's time for a vacation.
Steve Denari, who's the director of the Illinois Perot office, and he wants to talk to someone confidentially.
Read it to me. Well, what is names, address? I can send you a fax with names, addresses, phone numbers of who you had an affair with. It wouldn't make it true. Yeah, I just, believe me.
No, it wasn't, but I'm just going to tell some, bitch.
Believe me that it's been looked at by every major national news organization. Everything. And it is completely bullshit. If you went on the radio and said that Bill Clinton is the father of an illegitimate black child, you would be laughed at. People would think you're crazy. We're not going to lose. We are going to win. He is going to be president.
The buttons are right there. Right? The hero. All right. Did you like it? Yes, she's here. She's just right ahead of me. Congratulations.